Stoicism is a philosophical school of thought that has gained renewed interest in recent years due to its practical and timeless wisdom. Stoicism originated in ancient Greece and was later popularized by philosophers like Epictetus, Seneca, and Marcus Aurelius. At its core, Stoicism teaches individuals how to live a life of virtue, tranquility, and wisdom in the face of adversity. Central to Stoic philosophy are principles and practices that guide one's behavior and mindset. In this video, we will explore 8 things that Stoics don't do and examine the underlying reasons behind these choices. 1. Don't chase external pleasures. One of the fundamental tenets of Stoicism is the rejection of the pursuit of external pleasures. While many people seek happiness and fulfillment through material possessions, sensual pleasures, and external validation, Stoics recognize that these pursuits are fleeting and ultimately unsatisfying. The Stoic perspective on this matter is rooted in their distinction between what is within our control, internal, and what is beyond our control, external. According to Stoic philosophy, external circumstances and possessions are beyond our control, and thus they should not be the primary sources of our happiness. Instead, Stoics focus on cultivating virtues such as wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, which are entirely within their control. Stoics understand that external pleasures are subject to change and are often out of their hands. By not chasing after them, they avoid the inevitable disappointment that comes when those pleasures are lost or unattainable. This practice allows Stoics to maintain inner tranquility and contentment, regardless of external circumstances. To illustrate this, consider the example of John, a modern individual navigating the complexities of life. John, like many in his society, often sought happiness and fulfillment through the acquisition of material possessions, indulgence in sensual pleasures, and the constant craving for external validation. John's lifestyle was characterized by an incessant pursuit of the latest gadgets, designer clothes, and luxury cars. He believed that accumulating these external possessions would bring him lasting happiness. However, in the Stoic tradition, this approach is considered misguided. Stoicism draws a clear line between what is within one's control, internal, and what lies beyond it, external. From a Stoic perspective, external circumstances and material possessions are beyond an individual's control, and thus they should not serve as the primary sources of one's happiness. Instead, Stoics emphasize the importance of cultivating inner virtues such as wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, qualities that are entirely within their control. In contrast to John's approach, Stoics recognize that external pleasures are ephemeral and prone to change. The luxury car he purchased today may lose its luster tomorrow, and the fleeting joy derived from it will eventually dissipate. By not ardently pursuing these external pleasures, Stoics like John can circumvent the all-too-familiar cycle of disappointment that ensues when such pleasures prove transitory or unattainable. In practicing this Stoic philosophy, individuals like John can achieve a state of inner tranquility and contentment, irrespective of the external circumstances that life may present. They find their fulfillment not in the accumulation of possessions, but in the cultivation of their character and their ability to respond virtuously to the challenges and uncertainties of life. 2. Don't complain or whine. Stoicism stands out for its emphasis on resilience in the face of adversity and its rejection of complaining or whining as unproductive behaviors. Stoics firmly believe that these actions only serve to amplify suffering, providing no real solutions. At the core of Stoicism lies the understanding that while we cannot control the events that unfold in our lives, we possess the power to control our responses to them. Complaining and whining are viewed as futile forms of resistance to the reality of what is happening, offering no ability to change external circumstances. Instead, Stoics advocate for acceptance and rational analysis when confronted with difficult situations. When adversity strikes, Stoics employ a practice known as the Stoic reserve clause. This entails mentally preparing for the worst possible outcome and accepting it as a possibility. By doing so, they approach challenging circumstances with a sense of calm and equanimity, sidestepping the emotional turmoil often associated with complaining or resisting the facts of reality. In this way, Stoicism encourages individuals to face adversity with a rational and composed mindset, ultimately contributing to their ability to endure hardship and find solutions rather than dwelling on grievances. Let me give you an example of Emily, a dedicated professional facing a challenging project at work. When the project encountered unexpected setbacks and obstacles, Emily found herself becoming increasingly frustrated and tempted to complain about the situation. Upon discovering Stoicism, Emily decided to implement its principles in her life. Instead of giving in to the urge to complain and whine about the project's difficulties, she embraced the Stoic perspective that such behaviors were unproductive and counterproductive. She recognized that complaining would not alter the external circumstances or move the project forward. Emily decided to put the Stoic reserve clause into practice. She mentally prepared herself for the possibility of the project failing or encountering further setbacks. This mental preparation allowed her to face adversity with equanimity and a clear mind. Rather than succumbing to emotional turmoil, she focused on analyzing the challenges and seeking solutions. Over time, Emily's adoption of Stoic principles transformed her approach to adversity. She became known for her resilience in the face of difficult projects and her ability to stay composed under pressure. Her newfound mindset not only benefited her professionally, but also led to improved teamwork and problem-solving within her organization. Emily's example illustrates how Stoicism's rejection of complaining and whining can empower individuals to face adversity with rationality and strength, ultimately leading to more effective responses and solutions. 3. Don't obsess over the opinions of others. In a world where social approval and validation are highly sought after, Stoics take a different approach. They don't obsess over the opinions of others because they understand that they cannot control how others perceive or judge them. Instead, they focus on cultivating their character and living in accordance with their values. The opinion of 10,000 men is of no value if none of them know anything about the subject. In this quote, Marcus Aurelius underscores the idea that the multitude of opinions from others holds little significance when those opinions lack substance or knowledge. Stoics understand that it's far more meaningful to prioritize one's own judgment of their actions and choices, guided by wisdom and virtue. By refraining from seeking external validation or becoming excessively concerned with the views of others, Stoics liberate themselves from the chains of public opinion. This newfound freedom empowers them to make decisions grounded in their own values and convictions, rather than being swayed by the unpredictable and ever-changing currents of social approval. This Stoic approach encourages individuals to be the arbiters of their own moral compass, to prioritize authenticity over conformity, and to find fulfillment in living virtuously, rather than in the fickle judgments of others. Imagine you are a successful entrepreneur who initially became consumed by the opinions of others as your business gained visibility. Constantly checking online reviews and social media comments, you sought validation through positive feedback. However, this preoccupation led to anxiety and decision-making driven by popularity rather than your business's mission. Discovering Stoicism, you shifted her perspective, principle that you have power over your mind, not outside events. You redirected your focus to your business's realizing you couldn't control external judgments, guided by the Stoic core values. By prioritizing the quality of your work over external validation, your business thrived, and you found fulfillment in pursuing your mission, free from the grip of others' opinions. Generally, This transformation definitely highlighted Stoicism's ability to empower individuals to focus on their purpose and values, ultimately enhancing both their personal and professional lives. 4. Don't fear death. In the philosophical framework of Stoicism, one of the most striking and distinctive aspects is the Stoic stance on death. Unlike many people who harbor a pervasive fear of death, Stoics approach this universal and inescapable human reality with a profoundly unique perspective. Central to Stoic philosophy is the notion that death is an inevitable and integral part of the human experience, an occurrence that lies beyond the realm of human control. This foundational belief fosters within Stoics a deep-seated tranquility in the face of their own mortality. The Stoic perspective on death is deeply rooted in their understanding that our fear of death is fundamentally irrational. Death in the Stoic worldview is not something to be dreaded, but rather an event to be accepted as part of the natural order. Seneca, one of the most renowned Stoic philosophers, encapsulated this perspective aptly when he declared, "He who fears death will never do anything worth of a man who is alive." This Stoic maxim underscores the idea that a life consumed by the fear of death is a life half-lived, a life hindered by unnecessary anxiety and hesitation. For Stoics, the true essence of life does not reside in its duration, but in the quality of existence. They maintain that one's worth is measured by the virtue and wisdom one cultivates during their time on this earth. In the face of death, Stoics find solace in knowing that they have the power to live virtuously and to make the most of the time they have. This perspective is deeply intertwined with the Stoic practice of memento mori, a Latin phrase that means remember you will die. Rather than being morbid, memento mori serves as a reminder to cherish the present moment and to live in accordance with one's values. By confronting death with courage and serenity, Stoics unshackle themselves from the paralyzing grip of fear. They discover profound freedom in embracing the inevitability of their own mortality. Instead of dwelling on the unknown and uncontrollable aspects of death, Stoics choose to focus on what they can control: their thoughts, actions, and values. In this way, they strive to live each day fully, unburdened by the looming specter of death, and dedicated to making the most of the present moment. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most well-known proponents of Stoicism, faced death with remarkable equanimity throughout his life. As Emperor of Rome, he led a life fraught with challenges, including political intrigues, military campaigns, and the constant demands of ruling an empire. Despite these pressures, Marcus Aurelius remained steadfast in his Stoic beliefs. One of the most compelling examples of his Stoic perspective on death is found in his personal writings, known as Meditations. In these reflections, Marcus Aurelius often contemplated the transience of life and the inevitability of death. He wrote, "Do not act as if you had 10,000 years to throw away. Death stands at your elbow. Be good for something while you live, and it is in your power." This passage encapsulates the essence of Stoicism's approach to death. Marcus Aurelius recognized that dwelling in fear or denial of death is a waste of the precious time one has in this world. Instead, he urged himself and others to use their time wisely, to cultivate virtue, and to live in accordance with their values. Throughout his rule, Marcus Aurelius faced numerous personal and political challenges. His Stoic beliefs, including his acceptance of mortality, enabled him to maintain a sense of inner calm and resilience in the face of adversity. He realized that death was a natural part of life, a fact that could not be altered or avoided. Therefore, he focused on the present moment, making decisions aligned with his principles and virtues. In this way, Marcus Aurelius's life serves as a powerful example of how Stoicism encourages individuals not to fear death, but rather to embrace it as an integral part of the human experience. By doing so, Stoics like Marcus Aurelius find the strength to live virtuously. to face challenges with courage, and to appreciate the value of each day, unburdened by the looming specter of mortality. 5. Don't engage in gossip or idle talk. Gossip and idle talk often involve speaking negatively about others, spreading rumors, or engaging in superficial conversations that do not contribute to personal growth or the well-being of others. Stoics recognize that these activities can be harmful and counterproductive, leading to unnecessary conflicts and negative emotions. They believe that such behaviors are not conducive to living a virtuous and meaningful life. Why? Because engaging in gossip or idle talk can have several negative consequences, both for the person doing the gossiping and for those who are the subject of the gossip. Damage to reputation. Gossip and idle talk often involves spreading rumors or negative information about others. This can harm the reputation and social standing of the individuals being discussed. In turn, it can lead to strained relationships and social isolation. Trust erosion. Engaging in gossip can erode trust among friends, family, or colleagues. People may become wary of confiding in someone they believe is prone to gossip, leading to a breakdown in trust and meaningful relationships. Harm to others. Gossip can cause real harm to the subjects of the discussion. False or damaging information can lead to emotional distress, damage to personal or professional relationships, and even legal consequences in some cases. Waste of time and energy. Idle talk and gossip consume time and mental energy that could be better spent on productive or meaningful activities. Engaging in such behavior is often a distraction from personal growth and virtuous pursuits. Negative impact on character. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of developing a virtuous character. Engaging in gossip or idle talk contradicts this principle, as it often involves negative judgments and harmful speech. It can lead to moral deterioration and a departure from Stoic ideals. Reinforcement of negative emotions. Gossip and idle talk often perpetuate negative emotions such as envy, resentment, and judgment. This can lead to a cycle of negativity that hinders personal contentment and inner peace. Social isolation. Over time, individuals who engage in gossip or idle talk may find themselves isolated or excluded from social groups. Others may distance themselves from those who habitually engage in negative or unproductive conversations. WHATWE. CANDOTOAVOIDIT follow Stoics because they prioritize meaningful and constructive conversations. They value truth, honesty, and the exchange of ideas that can lead to personal and intellectual growth. By avoiding gossip and idle talk, Stoics maintain their commitment to virtue and integrity in their interactions with others. Moreover, this Stoic principle aligns with the broader idea that our time is a valuable and limited resource. Engaging in idle talk or gossip squanders this precious resource, distracting us from more meaningful pursuits. Instead, Stoics advocate for conversations that contribute positively to personal development and the betterment of society. Furthermore, Stoicism emphasizes the importance of treating others with respect and empathy. Gossip and idle talk often involve speaking negatively about others, violating the Stoic principle of treating all individuals with dignity and fairness. By refraining from such behaviors, Stoics uphold their commitment to virtuous living and fostering harmonious relationships with others. 6. Don't harbor resentment or grudges. Resentment and grudges are heavy emotional burdens that Stoics consciously choose not to carry. Stoicism teaches that harboring negative emotions is detrimental to one's own well-being, and it encourages individuals to practice forgiveness and understanding instead. Stoics firmly believe that it is within their power to control their emotional reactions to external events and the actions of others. Rather than reacting with anger or resentment, they choose to respond with equanimity and empathy. Stoics recognize that people often act out of ignorance or due to their own inner struggles, and harboring resentment only perpetuates suffering. By letting go of grudges and practicing forgiveness, Stoics liberate themselves from the emotional turmoil that comes from holding onto negative emotions. This release allows them to direct their energy and focus toward what truly matters, living a virtuous and fulfilling life guided by their principles and values. Alex and Emily, two colleagues working at the same company. They were assigned to a team project together, but over time, disagreements and misunderstandings caused friction in their working relationship. Emily felt that Alex was not pulling his weight on the project, while Alex believed that Emily was overly critical and micromanaging. In this situation, Emily could have chosen to harbor resentment toward Alex. She might have stewed over his perceived shortcomings and allowed her frustration to grow. This could have led to a toxic work atmosphere, decreased productivity, and personal stress. However, Emily was introduced to Stoic principles by a friend and decided to apply them to her life. She recognized that harboring resentment would only cause her more suffering and hinder her ability to work effectively. Instead, she chose to practice understanding and forgiveness. Emily initiated an open and empathetic conversation with Alex, seeking to understand his perspective and express her own concerns constructively. Through this dialogue, they both gained insights into each other's challenges and motivations. It became apparent that their disagreements had arisen from miscommunication and differing working styles, rather than ill intentions. By choosing not to harbor resentment and by practicing forgiveness and understanding, Emily and Alex were able to resolve their differences, improve their working relationship, and complete the project successfully. Emily's adoption of Stoic principles not only benefited her professionally, but also contributed to a more harmonious and productive work environment for the entire team. 7. Don't worry about things beyond their control. One of the core principles of Stoicism is the distinction between what is within our control and what is beyond our control. Stoics understand that they cannot control external events or the actions of others. Therefore, they choose not to worry about things that are beyond their control. To quote Marcus Aurelius, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He advised us to focus on the inner realm of one's thoughts and reactions, recognizing that external events are beyond one's control. In other words, it encourages individuals to find strength and tranquility by accepting this fundamental distinction and directing their efforts toward mastering their own minds. Worrying about things beyond one's control is seen as a futile and self-destructive behavior. It only leads to anxiety, stress, and a sense of powerlessness. Instead, Stoics focus their energy and attention on what they can control, namely, their own thoughts, attitudes, and actions. Stoics practice a form of cognitive reframing known as the dichotomy of control. They recognize that some things are up to them, their judgments, choices, and values, while others are not, external events, the actions of others. By accepting this distinction and not worrying about the latter, Stoics are able to maintain inner peace and equanimity even in the face of challenging circumstances. Imagine a dedicated student who was preparing diligently for a crucial entrance examination for a highly competitive graduate program. She had invested countless hours in her studies, practiced extensively, and was doing her best to be well prepared. As the exam day approached, she began to feel mounting anxiety. She couldn't help but worry about factors beyond her control, such as the difficulty of the questions, the behavior of her fellow test takers, and unforeseen technical glitches during the exam. These worries started to consume her thoughts, leading to sleepless nights and heightened stress levels. One day, a friend introduced her to Stoicism and its philosophy of focusing on what is within one's control. Inspired by this newfound perspective, she decided to apply Stoic principles to her situation. She realized that she couldn't control the external circumstances of the exam, but she could control her own level of preparation, her mindset, and her response to challenges. She embraced the Stoic practice of the dichotomy of control, recognizing that the difficulty of the exam questions and the behavior of others were not within her sphere of influence. Instead of wasting energy on these concerns, she channeled her efforts into maintaining a positive and resilient attitude, making the most of her final days of preparation and embracing the uncertainty of the exam's outcome. On the day of the examination, her Stoic approach served her well. She remained composed, focused, and adaptive in the face of unexpected challenges, such as a minor technical glitch that temporarily disrupted the exam. She performed to the best of her abilities, confident that she had done everything within her control to succeed. This student's Stoic journey not only helped her face the exam with resilience, but also offered her a valuable life lesson. She realized that, in many aspects of life, worrying about things beyond one's control only leads to unnecessary stress and anxiety. By applying Stoic principles, she learned to prioritize what she could influence, and, in doing so, discovered a sense of inner peace and strength that extended far beyond her academic endeavors. 8. Don't live in denial of emotions. To quote Epictetus, the key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. He highlights the importance of surrounding oneself with individuals who have a positive and uplifting influence. While Stoics are known for their emotional resilience and self-control, they do not suppress or deny their emotions. Instead, they have a nuanced approach to emotions that involves acknowledging and understanding them. Stoicism teaches that emotions are natural and unavoidable reactions to external events and perceptions. However, Stoics believe that emotions are often the result of judgments and interpretations that can be rationalized and examined. By critically assessing their emotions and the underlying beliefs that give rise to them, Stoics can gain greater control over their emotional responses. Stoics also practice a form of mindfulness that involves observing their emotions without judgment. This allows them to distance themselves from their emotions and avoid being overwhelmed by them. By acknowledging and understanding their emotions, Stoics are better equipped to respond to them in a rational and constructive manner. Imagine a person who recently experienced the end of a significant romantic relationship. This breakup left them feeling heartbroken, lonely, and overwhelmed by a mix of emotions, including sadness and anger. Rather than denying or suppressing these emotions, this person decides to apply Stoic principles to their emotional journey. They acknowledge that these feelings are a natural response to the loss and disruption in their life. In line with Stoic philosophy, they begin by examining their emotions. They recognize that part of their sadness comes from an attachment to the idea of being in a relationship and the expectations they had for it. The anger stems from feeling hurt by certain actions during the breakup. Instead of allowing these emotions to consume them, they practice mindfulness. They observe their emotions without judgment, creating some psychological distance from the intensity of their feelings. This distancing allows them to gain perspective and avoid being overwhelmed. Through this process, they gain insights into their own thought patterns and judgments that contributed to their emotional response. They understand that while they couldn't control the outcome of the relationship, they have control over how they interpret and respond to the breakup. Over time, this person uses their emotional experience as a source of personal growth. They learn to let go of attachments, cultivate resilience, and foster a deeper understanding of themselves and their values. They recognize that acknowledging and understanding their emotions doesn't make them weak, but rather empowers them to lead a more virtuous and fulfilling life. In conclusion, Stoicism offers a unique and practical philosophy of life that emphasizes virtue, wisdom, and inner tranquility. The 8 things that Stoics don't do are all rooted in their commitment to these principles. They don't chase external pleasures, complain, obsess over the opinions of others, fear death, engage in gossip or idle talk, harbor resentment or grudges, worry about things beyond their control, or live in denial of emotions. By adopting these practices, Stoics aim to live a life that is in harmony with nature and guided by reason. They seek to cultivate virtues, make the most of the present moment, and maintain inner peace and resilience in the face of adversity. While Stoicism may not be for everyone, its timeless wisdom offers valuable insights into how to live a more meaningful and fulfilling life.